you ready for class? Welcome back to the Panic Room, everyone, and to another episode of Pax's Library of Horrors. Alright guys, so today we have a book called The Magic Bed by John Birmingham. And this is a strange one. I will tell you guys that really what got me was one illustration in here, because it looked like a child going into this absolute hellscape. Okay? And the story itself, I feel like, is not that outside of the realm of normal children's books, but there are some elements in here that I really want to tell you guys about. So you have this little boy by the name of Georgie, and his parents, his family see that the bed that he's in is becoming too small for him. So they go to this antique shop and they find this bed. And obviously, that is just the start of any kind of fantasy story. And when they get it into his room, his father says, "Look, Georgie, there's some writing here, but it's very faint." "What does it say?" said Georgie. "In this bed you will travel far. First say your prayers and then say," and I can't read the last word. It says M something 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 Y. Alright, so you then have Georgie for the next couple of nights trying to guess this magic word. And it says that one night, apparently he gets it right, because, shoo, his bed just flies out the window. Okay? I mean, to me, I would be screaming bloody flippin' murder, but, hey, he's loving it. He's sailing out over the town, I feel like a lot of children, I don't know, would you have been happy? I don't think I would have been happy as a child if that happened. I don't know, maybe as a real young child, I would have thought that was cool, but I don't know. And so then the next couple pages are just chronicling these fantastic adventures he has. Landing in a field of gnomes and fairies and having to read them a bedtime story. Or, descending into the bowels of hell. Look at that! Look at the different, see the jarring, we've talked about this in the past. I'm reminded of our Little Libraries episode on the Insomniacs, about how the difference in artwork can really jar the reader. This is another wonderful example. Take this in. The majority of the book looks like this. And then you have this. What in the actual hell? This looks like this child is being thrown in to the mouth of hell. I don't know what was happening here. I don't know. I feel like decisions were made. So then, of course, we get some more adventures. At one point he helps a tiger cub. At another point he finds treasure and is chased by pirates. Oh, and sometimes his bed gets wet, and it's just because he went swimming with dolphins. Yeah, I feel like you could go down a whole nother road there, but we're not going to do that today. So then we have this, which is not quite as jarring as the hellscape, double panel that we had, but we have, how he is I think these are geese. Yeah, he gave a lift to some geese, and then he raced a bunch of witches. But you see the difference in the panels, again, I feel like it's incredibly jarring. I mean, I prefer this style myself, but the majority of the book is in this one. Again, not as, crazy as that hellscape photo, but I think it was an interesting style choice, because that really is the only two times that happens, and I'm not sure why. So then we have Georgie's family going on vacation, and his grandmother staying behind. Now, at one point in this story, his grandmother talks about how his bed is really ratty, and so when they come back, of course, Granny bought him a new bed, and he's all 10 shades pissed off because he wants his old magic bed back. So he runs down, this child by himself, runs down to the dump to try and find this bed, which he finds it. It's sitting on top of a dumpster, probably full of, crack needles and God only knows what else. And so he just climbs up into the dumpster. He just climbs up in there with all of the broken beer bottles and, the used things. And he jumps on the bed, says his magic word, and apparently just goes sailing off in the sunset. And, I guess his parents, have this terrible tragedy befall them of losing their child. And he's just sailing out. And he just says, if you're still in your bed and you find your magic word, perhaps you could travel far away like Georgie. And I guess Georgie just never came home and his parents had to deal with his loss. And that's awful. I know I'm reading too much into it that a child wouldn't. But, let's break this down here. They come back from vacation. He gets mad. He runs down to a dump and they never see him again. That's not a children's story. That's a news article. So again, guys, you know, comment down below. Tell me what you think. You know, this is an interesting one, I thought. Yes, the premise is super, super common, but, you know, when you really break down some of these actions and you know, some of the illustrations, I feel like there is some stuff here that, you know, looking back on could really be terrifying to a child, you know? And we kick around in the little library this idea about the suspension of disbelief. And I think this is a really good example of that. You know, kids don't think about, you know, running down to places by themselves and then never seeing their parents again. They just think like, ooh, magic bed. And psychologically speaking, I just think that's really interesting to see how we go from this innocent view of the world to this like, oh my God, you need to have your picture on a milk jug because your kid's gone. Yeah, stuff like that. So comment down below. I would just like to know your thoughts, you know, about maybe this idea of the suspension of disbelief, about this acceptance of magic, things like that. But guys, thank you for coming back to another episode of Pax's Little Library of Horrors. Please, if you like this, hit like, hit subscribe. It would really help me out. And until next time, class dismissed.